Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for choosing to spend the next hour with us here at New Life Live. Truth is, we're going to be taking your calls for 2 hours, and we really do want to hear from you. Give us a call. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Operators are standing by. Trauma, depression, distorted thinking, we can handle all of that and more, and show you how to handle it too. Joining me today in the studio is licensed marriage and family therapist JJ. No, I'm not a mirage. I'm really here in person today, West. It's not Skype. It's not Zoom. Of course, it's not Skype because Skype skipped town. Yeah. But it's not even an AI-generated hologram. JJ, it's really you. You are really here. Me. Good to see you.
It's so good to be here. It's so good to see you guys in person. Yes. It's so good to be on the show live.
Yes.
Yeah.
JJ's here for the sold-out Every Man's Battle Intensive, which is happening this weekend. It's sold out, but that's okay. We've got another one coming up in just a few weeks. Yes. Also here for the second day in a row is clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton. What's up, Alice? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is what we choose to tolerate actually teaches people how to treat us. And so on a simple level, if my children huff at me when I ask them to come off screen or to do their chores, or if they say, "Oh, Mom," and I let that go by, I'm teaching them, you can treat me like that. I'm okay with that, even if on the inside I am not. If my husband is harsh or intense or raises his voice or calls me names and I say nothing, thinking I'm being a good Christian wife, I'm just grinning and bearing it, I'm turning the other cheek, and hopefully if I don't say anything, it won't escalate farther than that. I'm teaching my family, you can treat me this way. I worked for a company and we had a manager, and in our meetings, he would be very harsh, and I would even say verbally abusive to one particular coworker. And none of us said anything. And I was in agony the whole time thinking that today I'm going to stand up and walk out of here. I'm going to say, you can't treat her that way. And I'm not going to stand for this. But I never did. Yeah. I didn't have the courage, the wherewithal. I didn't have the boundaries or the assertiveness. And I didn't have the permission. And I needed to get permission from God that a good Christian person can say, that doesn't work for me. I'm not sticking around for you to treat me like that. And walking away with those kinds of words of truth and grace is one of the most powerful ways to tell people, I need to be treated better if you want the pleasure of my company. But it's so much easier said than done. And we have to go through a process of learning that we can tap into that strength, that we can tap into the strength of the Holy Spirit. And usually that happens through therapy and through group. So the first time that I actually was able, years later, to stand up to an intense person who was being too harsh on me, I said, please stop. And if you won't stop, I'm leaving. And they didn't stop. And I left. And it was one of the most empowering moments of my life.
Yes.
But easier said than done.
Man, that's so good. And, it reminds me of so often I'll find myself in situations where someone's telling a joke, and it's a joke that the subject is to belittle a group of people, whether because of their race or their gender or their sexual orientation or whatever, and to not step in and say, that's unkind, that's wrong, that's unloving. To not speak up is exactly the same thing. In my silence, I am advocating that that's okay. Yeah.
But how do you stand up to the person who, like in your situation, was a manager, and you're like, well, if I say something, what if I lose my job or something? I think that's that fear that keeps a lot of people down.
And I think we have to pick which price we're willing to pay. Either I pay the price of silence and I keep my job, or I pay the price of speaking up and I hold on to my integrity and I trust God with the results of speaking up, especially if I sense that He's telling me to speak up.
Right. Yeah.
Because we should be cautious and pick our battles.
Correct, for sure. Yes. All right, we're going to take a really quick break, and then we'll be back with you on the phones, 1-800-229-3000. We've already got some calls coming in, so we'll get right to them after this short break. This is New Life Live.
The Life Recovery Conference is online Saturday, October 4th. It isn't just for those struggling with addiction. It's for anyone ready to break free from destructive patterns and build a foundation for lasting change. Our expert speakers will equip you with biblical tools to face life's toughest challenges and find real transformation. You'll walk away with practical strategies to overcome anxiety, shame, and relational struggles, plus biblical wisdom for grief, finances, and identity. You'll also gain tools to recognize unhealthy patterns and clear action steps to choose wisdom every day. The Life Recovery Conference is for everyone. Whether you're just beginning your journey, looking for fresh tools, supporting a loved one, or leading others, you'll find hope, direction, and encouragement. Change starts with one step. Register today for the Choosing Wisdom New Life Recovery Conference at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
If you haven't visited newlife.com lately, go check it out. We've made it really simple for you to find what you're looking for, and we think you are going to love it. Newlife.com. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and here is Michelle in Pensacola, Florida, listening on WTRJ. Hello, Michelle. Thanks for calling in today.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great.
How are you today?
Great.
Good.
So what's going on?
My question is, how do I get my husband to go to counseling with me?
What have you tried so far?
Other
than dragging him to the car or anything like that?
I've talked to him about it. He doesn't want to go. We were in counseling many years ago when my kids were at home. But when the counselor started talking with him, my daughter was going for a drug addiction. And we were going as a family. Mm-hmm. And when he finally got the opportunity to come, and he was only in there with her for 5 minutes because I guess the question she was asking him, because I wasn't with him, he did not, agree with, like, or whatever. So he said he was never going back again and that we could finish going with Jade, but then after that, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did you ever ask him what it was about the question that she asked that was so troubling for him?
He said he felt like he was being accused.
Okay. He was being accused of what?
Parenting, I guess. I don't know. He wouldn't go into it. He just said that we were done.
Okay. Being accused of poor parenting.
Poor parenting, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Alice, any thoughts?
Michelle,
I'm
what
not
do you
real sure exactly.
what do you know about your husband's history and maybe his family of origin, where there were accusations against him?
My husband was physically and mentally abused growing up. Yeah. So I know I've been through counseling myself for years, off and on. When I can afford it, I'll go. But now the last few years, he's, gotten really into himself and just depressed, and we don't have intimacy but once, maybe 6 times a year, maybe. I don't even remember. Mm-hmm. And I love him, and I don't want to do anything, and I've been instructed by several counselors, different things, I've tried. I just, I'm to the point to where a couple months ago, I got to where I just don't care anymore. And, whatever, I'm just going to live each day, whatever. My husband has some health issues as well. So, and I haven't been in counseling for over a year. So, because I can't afford it.
And Michelle, you're saying you love him, but you're getting to the point where you feel apathetic. You don't care anymore, in a way, about the relationship.
It's not that I don't care about the relationship. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. And so I've just kind of put it back. And, just, I go day to day, I tell him I love him, I'm there, I don't say anything or do anything against what he wants to do or whatever. Stop going to church.
He stopped going to church, or you stopped going to church?
He stopped. He stopped. Then I stopped because it was more of a hassle for me at home, because he would be like, well, you care more about those things than you care about me, you care about that, what are you going to do for my dinner? So I'm like, the time spent with him, I guess, I don't know. I mean, we both work. I work different hours than he works, but mostly not. I'm off on weekends with him. I mean, I just, I don't have anything to do with my family. One friend I have, during the week, I talk to her and stuff like that. But I'm just, to the point, my family calls me all the time. They want to come over. They want to do this, that. He's sick, he don't feel like company.
He's sick?
Yeah,
You said he's sick? He has physical ailments?
He says he's sick. Yeah, he's sick a lot. He has some health issues.
So your life has gotten small. It has shrunk down, and you no longer engage with the outside world either, whether that's family or church.
Work.
And work. Okay. And the main reason you want him to go to counseling is to improve your relationship with him. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't want a divorce. A long time ago I could have, but I want it to work because I've made a vow and I love him and I don't want to lose him. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be miserable and chained up the rest of my life.
Would he say that he is satisfied with the current status of your relationship?
I guess, because he doesn't complain. So when I want to talk to him about stuff, it's defensive. Mm-hmm.
But he does.
It's always something.
Michelle, you said he does say you, Michelle, care about other things more than you care about me. Mm-hmm. So he does feel like he's low on your priority list. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I guess. And what else can I do? Not sit with him and watch TV all day when he's home. That's all he does. Sit in front of the TV, lay around. He may mow the grass. Mm-hmm. We may go spend 3 hours with my son once a month on a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Your husband's depression is so strong. He's become very sedentary. I guess he's pretty negative, and so it's almost intolerable to be around him doing what he wants to do, just watching TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to do housework and all that. And my mother-in-law, who has dementia, lives with us. She's not too far gone, that she can be by herself, and she does her own thing and all that, but she does live with us, his mom, and he's an only child. So, it's like, she gets on his nerves, and then it's back on me, So,
Michelle, to go back then to your question, because this has gotten very layered and complicated for you. Life is difficult, and it's hard to break through to your husband. You still love him, but you're feeling kind of powerless and hopeless.
Yeah.
So I see an entry point in the fact that he does complain that you don't care enough about him, even though you're probably trying everything you know and you have been to care about him, but he's not receiving it in that way. But when a person complains about us, if we can enter into that complaint as a gentle, curious listener, sometimes that opens up to deeper conversation. And so I would suggest trying something like this. You might tell him, husband, I was thinking about it, and I don't think you feel prioritized by me. You feel like I don't care about you. And I just want to be a listener about that. I want to find out more. Michelle, you might even show up with a pad of paper and a pen, ready to take notes. But you have to have the frame of mind of, I'm just gathering information here, and not everything he says is accurate.
Right.
But this is a bid to make a heart connection with my husband who has shut down. I've listened to my family's accusations against me, Michelle, and they'll say sometimes like, oh, you're so annoying, or you're always working, you're not with us, or you aren't a good listener to us. And when they complain about me to me, sometimes I'll be thinking, Michelle, I think this is 99% untrue. But there is at least a 1% truth, because I'm a very imperfect person.
Yes.
And so when I am willing to be their listener, even if they're giving me some things that don't belong to me, it might belong to his mom and dad. It might belong to other people in his life. But if we can kind of be a sacrificial lamb and listen, it shows our husband, it shows our person, I care enough to hear what you have to say without justifying or explaining. And one of the most structured...
Or debating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the most structured ways of doing this that helps me keep quiet instead of justifying myself is the comfort circle from Mylan and Kay's book, How We Love. And so if he's so opposed to therapy, I want you to start there, where you take a look at that comfort circle, go to him and be his listener. And see how that goes. See if that opens him up a little bit. And the secondary step might be to say, I want to learn how to care about you better.
Right.
And I think I might need therapeutic help to do that. Would you come and tell the therapist how you feel so unprioritized by me so she can teach me how to love better? Of course, the hope is that this spreads so that both of you become willing to look at imperfections and work towards growth together. But it starts with you because you're the most willing one.
Oh, I love that, Alice. I love that. And so I want to build on that. Two things. One, the invitation to go to counseling. When you go to a counselor, you either go as a client, you're the identified client who is asking for help, or sometimes you come in as a consultant to help the counselor work more effectively with the client. And so that's what you'd be asking your husband to do, is to come in as a consultant to help the counselor help you understand him better and how to love him better. And that's an important distinction to make, so that he doesn't feel like he's coming in, this is just, I'm just being brought in to be bludgeoned again for my failures as a husband or a father or whatever. No, you're coming in to help me love you better. But then also from the comfort circle, one of the key components of the comfort circle from Scripture is that we are to be slow to speak, slow to become angry, and quick to listen. What does it mean to be quick to listen? Well, it means a couple of things. One, it means not speaking, right? I'm slow to speak, so I'm listening to you, not speaking. But two, when I'm quick to listen, I'm asking probing questions. I'm asking questions that help unlock or uncover what's underneath the statements. And so I don't just stop with, oh, I don't prioritize you, full stop, that's it. It's just a critique and I have to go figure that out. No, I can ask questions. Tell me, what are the things that I do or don't do that communicate to you that you're not a priority to me? Tell me, what are the things that I'm missing that I could be doing that would help you know that you are a priority, that I do love you, that you are an important part of my life. That's active listening. That's what it means to be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry.
It's admittedly unfair to ask this of you, Michelle.
Yes.
But we know that grace works this way when we have a person who's so shut down like your husband is. And I would guess he has a lot of fear, a lot of shame, and the depression is really zapping him of his motivation. But he does still want relationship with you. Otherwise, he wouldn't have complained about you not prioritizing him.
That's correct.
I want to just make one quick comment about the TV. I sit down with my children and my husband to watch what they want to watch. Not because I'm interested. It can bore me to death, but because it's a deposit in relationship.
Yes.
So when I watch my son on his surfing game and I say, oh, what'd you just do? Tell me about that. What ocean are you surfing right now? I don't really care about the specifics of the answers. I care about him.
Yes.
And so getting interested in what our family is interested in, it's about building relationship. Consider doing that with your husband.
Yeah, and look for some, again, going back to being quick to listen, look for some ways to ask questions about the shows that he watches. Tell me why you like that show. What do you think the major theme of that show was? What do you think the director or the writer was trying to communicate? Is that something that we agree with as a family? Is that something that you agree with? Is that something you want to emulate in your life, right? You're asking follow-up questions. So it's not just I'm sitting here waiting for the show to end because you want me to sit here in the room with you, but I'm actively paying attention and I'm asking you about your life and your likes and dislikes and whether or not you agree with this show.
Michelle, stay on the phone. We're going to get your address and send you a copy of How We Love, which includes the comfort circle in it. And you and your husband, Michelle, would greatly benefit from the Intimacy and Marriage Intensive. We've got one more coming up this year. It's about 3 weeks away. Spots are limited and filling up fast. JJ West, what do you say to people who think, really, one weekend is going to change my marriage?
Yeah, it really can change your marriage. And here's why. Number one, you're getting away from all of the hustle and bustle of life. And you're spending, you're investing an entire weekend together. It's essentially like doing a couple months of therapy crammed into a weekend because you don't have all of those things that normally vie for your attention and allegiance. They're away from you because you're away at this workshop or you're away at this intensive. So you're setting aside the time, but then you're also hearing incredible information and then processing what you're hearing. You go from a large group presentation to small group accountability, application, working through the material together, and that's why it's so powerful. It's not just you listening to a few lectures and then suddenly your life has changed. It's you taking that information and learning how to apply it to your life with other couples that are in the same boat, and being led by a licensed therapist who's facilitating the group.
We also see that things like a man who will not open up at home, when he's put in a small group and another man opens up about what he's going through and his depression and shame, it generates this response where it becomes okay to talk about the things that we don't talk about at home.
So good.
So this is happening October 17th through the 19th in Dallas, Texas. If you register by October 3rd, you'll also get an early bird discount. But if you're thinking about it, don't wait too long because spots fill up fast. The registration number is 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can go to our website, newlife.com. More of your phone calls coming right up, 1-800-229-3000.
Nobody gets married thinking that they're going to get divorced, yet there are so many people that experience divorce. How do we get through it? It can feel like it's the end of your story, but we also know that life goes on. So how do we get the healing that we need?
The Moving Forward Hope After Divorce webinar is Thursday evening, October 16th.
The live session will offer recovery tips like how to process grief in a healthy biblical way, practical steps for emotional healing after divorce, how to set healthy boundaries. This session is for anyone who's separated, divorced, or still navigating the long-term impact of divorce. Maybe you've been divorced for many years and you're still holding on to that resentment.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
It's not information, it's an invitation to heal, to hope, to rebuild, to trust that God has more for your story.
Start your new chapter today. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-639-5433. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And if you want to talk to JJ West or Dr. Alice Benton, they're going to be in the studio for 2 hours today. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. Let's go back to the phones and talk to Dallas in Georgia. No, it's Georgia in Dallas. Sorry about that. Hi there, Georgia. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing great. So good to hear from you. How can we help you?
Okay, I'm going to start with the question first because I know that's the most important part. The question is, where's my place in this situation? The story is my husband comes from an emotionally and physically abusive family as he was growing up. Like his parents made him shoot his own dog.
Oh my gosh.
They would tie him to a chair. They would keep him away from people. He was not allowed to have friends. All of that in the past. Now as an adult, when we met, his mother had navigation control over his phone, so everywhere he went, she knew where he was, and if she couldn't reach him, she would call and call and call. Finally, we had a conversation. He told her to stop, removed it from his phone. She continues to send these daily scriptures to him, lengthy scriptures daily. We talked about it, and he decided, no, that's probably not a good idea. He told her, that me and my wife have talked about it. We've decided this is not what we want. We like to, continue with communication and know about the family, but don't send these messages. She stopped for about 2 weeks, and she started back up. I know it bothers him. He doesn't want to say anything about it. He feels like, as a Christian, he just needs to turn the other cheek and not say anything. And I'm a little bit flustered about it, and I'm not sure where my place is in the situation.
So when you say that she sends him Bible verses, are they verses that are like of a condemning nature or something? I mean, what's the purpose of her sending these verses?
I don't know. She sends them to a lot of family members. She'll send a Bible verse and this long, lengthy prayer. You know, like, I hope God, watches over you, blah, 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 blah. But it's kind of a jab because he's remembering all the hurtful things and all the things that she's done and all the conversations they've had afterward, about, and she denies both parents were involved, and they both deny that any of that happened.
Wow.
So for her to try to preach at him when she's not done the repair work, any repair work on the relationship. These are digs. The scripture turns into a dig every day.
Well, and it's also a continual example of her unwillingness to respect any boundaries that he's setting. So, there's been a history of, I don't care how this impacts you, it's what I want to do, so I'm going to do it, whether it's poor parenting, abusive parenting, or in this case, I want to send these scriptures and these prayers to you, even though you've asked me to stop and I stopped for a little while. I don't really care how it's impacting you. I want to do it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Right? And so that's the, the motif there is, the theme there is that mom lives her life how she wants to live it, regardless of the impact on others. And so your husband then ends up suffering because he's constantly being reminded of the fact that she has never parented in a way that is focused on my good and my healing and my health. It's all about what she wants, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So to your question, Georgia, what is your role? Your role primarily is to support your husband, to encourage him, to pray for him, to be someone in his life who does respect his boundaries, who does look out for his good, who is the counterbalance to the way that he was parented and even the way that he continues to be parented, at least with his mom, right? So that's your primary focus. That's your primary role. Your primary role is not going to be confrontive toward mom because it's his mom. If it were the other way around, if it were your mother who was doing this to him, that would be a different story. Then yes, you would kind of take that primary role of saying, Mom, this is not good, this is not right, you need to stop this. And if not, here are the ways that we're going to respond. To go back to Alice's opening, there are places where I need to walk away. But that's not your primary role in this relationship because it's his mother. And you don't want to create a scenario where he feels like he's having to choose between his wife and his mom, where he feels like the tug of rope between the two of you. So I don't see your primary role as being the direct confrontation to mom, but being supportive and helping your husband think through what's the healthiest way for him to confront or to respond to his mother, right? And that part of that is going to be having the conversation around, Mom, remember when we had the conversation and we asked you to stop doing this, and you did for about 2 weeks, and then you just started right back up again. Tell me what happened there. Why did you decide that you were going to violate this request that we set for you?
Well, he has already decided that it's not worth the trouble, that she's just going to keep doing it, and
so he's just going to ignore.
Like
he's just going to ignore those texts.
But it doesn't stop the way it makes him feel. It doesn't stop the way it makes me feel either.
No, of course not. How could it stop? It builds up the animosity, the resentment, because there's this longing that your husband, a right longing, a good longing that he has to be loved well. And that's not happening. And so that over and over again, her insistence on relating to him the way she wants to is reinforcing this belief that I don't really love you, I only care about me.
Alice?
Right.
Georgia, if your husband is deciding not to address this anymore, but you're still paying a price for it, then it will be important to decide, what are you going to do to protect your heart from being the secondary recipient of these daily scriptures? I suspect you've really strengthened your husband all along to practice better boundaries. So I've got a little bit more for you when we come back.
All right. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call with your questions.
I became aware that my husband had had an affair. He was viewing porn on the computer. I was totally unaware of anything like sex addiction. Through the workshop, I truly believe my soul has been restored. The workshop educated me about what sex addiction was. It also gave me courage. I learned how to stand up for myself. Without a doubt, it was the most significant thing that I did.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
That workshop is where I found the tools and the people to heal from this most heartbreaking thing of my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learned a lot from your program. You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
1-800-229-3000. We're talking to Georgia in Dallas, Texas. Alice, what did you want to offer to her?
Well, Georgia, I want you to identify your needs in this situation, because you may need your husband to block his mom to take a stronger stance, but he may not be able or willing to do that. And so if that's the case, then how do you get your need met? And it might be, I'm sorry, but I can't hear more about your mom sending you the daily scriptures. It's too dysregulating to me. I really want to comfort you, but I can't while we continue to allow her to be treating you in this way. I wish you would ask her again to stop. I wish you would warn her that you might block her. You might not read her texts if she continues, and she'll have to contact you through another means. I wish you would set up stronger boundaries. And if you can't, I just have to let you know I can't discuss this topic for now. I want to go back to what I said before, that I think you strengthened him over the years to separate his phone location from his mom, to ask her to stop the daily scripture. I bet that's through your influence. So you can still be an influence to him, asking for what you need, but then surrendering and accepting what he can and cannot do, and deciding how to protect your heart. You might ask him, what do you want from me, husband, when your mom still sends these to you? And then give him an honest answer of whether or not you can or cannot do what he's asking of you. And you might invite him, can we brainstorm options? Because I called this radio show, we talked about it. Can we talk about what we both think we can do and what works for the both of us? And let's get God in here to ask him, how should we handle this? It seems wrong to say stop sending scripture, but given the context, we know that it's right in this relationship.
It's what's so important, what you said, Alice, is the idea of having boundaries for myself. The boundary is for me. It's not for the other person. So you can't set the boundary for your husband. You can't let your mom do this anymore. It's, I'm not able to continue to have the conversation over and over again. So I have to, that's a boundary for me. If you continue to let your mom send those texts over and over, that's your decision, but understand the consequence of how it impacts me. and then my response, my boundary, which I think it'd be a great resource to send if you don't already have Boundaries by 𝙇𝙤𝙬, fantastic resource. And that's the main focus of the book is when I set a boundary, the boundaries for me, this is what I'm allowing into my world and what I'm not allowing into my world, not the boundaries for you in terms of your behavior.
It might not seem like honoring a parent to say, I'm cutting off text contact with you.
Right.
But when I'm saying I'm not willing to tolerate you mistreating me by trampling my boundaries, and so that's why I'm taking this space, I actually think it's the best way we can love people because we're giving them truth, but we're doing it with grace. And we're trying to teach them this is what I will accept and this is what I won't accept. I think that is honoring our parents.
And when we put it in the context of I want relationship with you, but I want healthy relationship with you. So oftentimes what happens is there's a cutoff. a child or even a grandchild will cut off the other person with no explanation for why and no invitation for growth and healing and restoration. And that's the real difference is to say, I want relationship with you, but I need you to honor this boundary that I have in terms of moving forward. Yeah.
Georgia, we're going to send you a copy of Boundaries just for calling in today here on New Life Live. And every day we come alongside people in crisis, offering not just good advice, but also a path to real healing. With your support, New Life connects people to biblically based truth, compassionate counsel, and practical tools that lead to lasting change. Now, whether or not you've ever called in to New Life Live, I know you've benefited from the advice you've heard. Someone dealing with a situation similar to yours, or just that little bit of encouragement to get you through another day. Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns. Sometimes you don't even have time to buckle up. And then you remember something you heard on this program, you apply it, and now you're the one in control of your stress and anxiety. If you benefit from what you hear on New Life Live, would you please consider making a financial gift of any size, whether it's your first time making a gift or your first time in a long time. We sure do appreciate when you come alongside us. You can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950 or donate at newlife.com. And as always, God bless you for whatever you can do. Let's talk to Sharon in Fort Worth, Texas, listening on KWRD. Hi there, Sharon.
Oh, how are you?
Great. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, how can we help?
My situation is with my mother. She's 80 years old, and she lives by herself. But the thing is, she she has a lot of fear and anxiety. I try to get her out to go to, different things, to the store or doctor's appointments, church, etc. And it's me and my sister that's taking care of her. My sister lives closer to her. But my question is, how do I handle the situation of trying to get her to come out of the house? She has a fear that everybody is out to get her or they're doing something to her. If she leaves the house, they'll go into her house doing something and stuff like that, which I've done things to show her that no one is coming into the house, but yet that fear is still there.
Sharon, has she been attacked or robbed historically, and or do you see this as possibly some signs of dementia and paranoia?
It's more so the paranoia. Everything else is a no. We've prior to this, the doctors did check her out and stuff like that, and she didn't have that problem. Here is one thing: she has a history of manipulation. She's the youngest of her siblings, and they always let her have her way. That I've learned, and then when she married my husband, the same thing, he pleased her as far as whatever she wanted and stuff. And like all those people are out of her life now, either they're deceased or they're, in separate life. So I'm wondering if it's, that with my sister and myself, because there's things that she'll do and then it'll backfire and stuff like that. She can be abusive towards us physically and sometimes try to be physically, and then it is a lot of verbal abuse. Listening to you guys' show, I took a stand in, because the last time I had spoken with her, she was very verbal abusive, and I told her, you know, we're going to have to take a break from each other until this, you know, stops. So it's been like over a week since I've spoken with her, you know, but I ask about her through my sister and stuff. But, you know, I don't want to live this type of life because I feel like sometimes I'm being disrespectful, but in turn, you know, it's like, if I don't get my way, then there's no way.
Sharon, did you feel like it was disrespectful to tell her I'm taking that week break?
In the beginning, I did, but then after listening to you guys' radio show, I'm like, hey, you know,
you did the right thing.
I got to live a healthy life. Yeah.
And can we just say, well done? Like that was indeed the right thing to do, was to say, I'm not willing to engage with you this way. I want, again, like we talked about earlier today on the show, I want to have a healthy relationship with you. I'm not willing to engage in a way where you verbally abuse me, because that's not healthy. That's not loving. And I'm not being actually kind to myself to allow myself to continue to be verbally abused. So Sharon, really well done there. It's so hard, especially when there are these long entrenched relational or emotional patterns in someone's life. You know, you said like historically throughout her life, people have always just given her way. They've catered to what it is that she wants, and so she's gotten very used to that. She's 80 years old. That's a long time. That's a pattern that's become a rut. You know, she's entrenched in that behavior pattern. Now, you may or may not be able to change. Well, you can't change her. Your changes may or may not elicit change in her, but that's not the focus. The focus is, how do I change? What are the things that I need to do in order to be healthy when I'm in relationship with her? And part of that is being willing to say, I'm not going to cater to exactly what you want, because there are things that it's not healthy for me to live that way. So no, I'm not going to rush over every single time you want me there. No, I'm not going to allow you to physically or verbally abuse me. And no, if I'm coming over, we're going to go to the store, or we're going to go to the doctor's appointment. We're not going to just stay at home because we're paranoid. So if that means I don't come over, that means I don't come over. But I'm not going to continue to cater to all of the unhealthy choices that you're making.
And her character deficits, being kind of self-centered, being a little spoiled, seems to be melding with mental illness potentially. And so also having a meeting with her doctor to let her treatment team know how much the paranoia is increasing. Medication could help soften some of that, but there's an internal character issue that she may not be willing to work on.
Sharon, thanks for calling in today to New Life Live. We've got to take a break, and we'll continue, and we'll also take more of your calls, and we're going to be in the studio for another hour, so call in 1-800-229-3000.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, so Sharon, for calling into the program today, we're going to send you a copy of Boundaries from the newlife.com store.
Just one other comment about
Yes.
honoring our parents, especially if they're becoming physically impaired or cognitively impaired, that we do still need to honor and I think make sure their basic needs are met. But we don't have to stick around to hear their verbal abuse. So limiting, Sharon, your care of your mom to the most basic possible, I do think is important. Either that your sister do it or you hire someone else to do it. And calling Adult Protective Services if your mom is so isolated and it sounds like agoraphobic, she won't leave the house. If that's impairing her health or deteriorating her health, then you might want to call Adult Protective Services for a social worker to go in and evaluate whether your mom has the capacity to still live on her own in this manner.
1-800-229-3000. Here is Beverly in Louisville, Kentucky, listening on Pure Radio. Hi there, Beverly. Welcome to New Life Live.
Thank you.
How can we help you today?
I have a question. I want to make sure that I'm going to be handling this correctly. My husband and I have been going through some marriage problems, and we were doing a Bible study at school at our church. Brought back some memories and things for abuse. So I got upset in a Sunday school class and said some things. The teacher came back later and told me that I offended people. He came to me and said that he realized that I was coming from a place of hurt and reaching out for help, but I had offended people and he needed to protect the class. The next week, it was the part of the study was on sexual intimacy, and so the abuse was sexual. I said, I can't do this anymore. Got up and left the class. I was at the point of shaking and nearly in tears out the door. I ended up going to the pastor, and he was a part of the meeting. I went to him on my own and explained everything that happened, and now it's come down to when I met with them, the pastor said that he was going to talk to some other friends. He's a newer pastor, and get back with me for some counselors because I had reached out with some counselors that I had gone to before. None of them were available. Never heard anything from them. 3 weeks later, I end up, my husband ends up, we talked. He said he needed to get into an accountability group, so he called one of our other deacons and set up a meeting to talk to them. He didn't do a full disclosure. I said he had to. We met. The guy was very wonderful with us, and then is still meeting with my husband. He has an accountability group. My husband's joining. But Sunday, the teacher that I had, because some things had been said, so I went to him and said that I wanted to talk to the class. He didn't want me to do that. We had visitors that day, and it wasn't appropriate. So he asked about counseling, and when I said that I hadn't made a phone call because I had called into you all and got a name, and he said, no, he needs to man up. He needs to do that. Had an attitude, very nasty. Everything he's been saying to me has been very nasty towards me. I told my husband I feel like I'm being victimized again. So I've called the pastor and left a message that I need to talk to him. Am I wrong and feeling that he needs to be no part of any of this any further. There is no love shown for me in dealing with this.
Okay, so Beverly, I got a couple questions here. When you say, are you right or wrong in believing that he, I'm assuming you mean the teacher, the Bible study teacher of the class, yes?
Yes.
Okay, that he should be no longer a part of this being what?
Being because they're supposed to be working with my husband because of abuse that had happened.
The pastoral staff team at the church? Who's the they?
But the sexual abuse and that happened between my husband and I. So it's supposed to be
hold on. Beverly, what I'm asking is, when you said they are supposed to be working with your husband, who is the they in that sentence?
The pastor and the teacher.
The pastor and this teacher are supposed to be working with your husband to deal with his abuse toward you.
Yes.
And to reconcile with you.
Right. And my husband knew nothing about me going to them, and nobody ever contacted me for 3 weeks. Well, actually, it's been almost 5 weeks. It's 5 weeks today that I went to them and talked to them, and the only thing we got was an email Monday night saying that he was wanted to update on how the counseling was going, and if that my husband needed to get in touch with him within 10 days.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot going on here. And Beverly, I'm so sorry that you have repeatedly been mistreated. Certainly you were mistreated in the original abuse. You were mistreated. It sounds like there was abuse in your childhood and then abuse in your marriage, yes?
Abuse as far as pretty much neglect with our parents. We had to parent our parents.
Okay, gotcha. So there's been abuse in childhood, there's been abuse in marriage, and then there's been some spiritual abuse in your church experience. Certainly, at least, this repeating theme of neglect, of not being well taken care of. The fact that you were told, hey, we're going to give you some counseling resources, and then you didn't hear back for, now you're saying up to 5 weeks. That's a form of neglect, and I'm so sorry that you've experienced that. I do need to go back in the story a little bit because I've got a couple more questions. When the I think you said deacon and Bible study leader said that he needed to protect the class, meaning what? What did he have to do to protect the class?
I don't know. At that point when he said that to me, I was so, and it was all fresh. And I even told my husband, I said, why would he say that?
Yeah, that's a mystery because I don't understand. If you said something that was, you said it offended some people. Okay, so it would be up to him to say to you, here's what you said that was offensive, and I needed you to leave, or I needed you to stop along, I needed to stop you from saying these things because it was going to be problematic or perhaps not protecting the class. But that I don't understand that part, and I also don't understand when you said you wanted to then speak to the class. What is it that you wanted to say when you were told you couldn't? Because they were.
I had said that if they needed to understand that I wanted to do a full disclosure. This was supposed to be a group we've been involved with for about 10 or 12 years.
Oh, whoa.
You wanted your husband to make a full disclosure in the class. Okay,
yeah.
So, Beverly, we can hear you are a raw nerve because your heart has just been trampled by so many people. And I think it's just fine for you to ask that teacher not be a part of your husband's treatment team. In fact, I would even elevate this beyond the church treatment team because the level of abuse, and you're not even telling us much, it necessitates a professional with expertise in this area. And I would question whether or not the church can provide that. They're doing some help, but I think it needs a much higher level. And the full disclosure, you're right that you need that, at least for yourself. And if that has not yet taken place in a therapeutic setting, fully guided by a clinician who has experience with it, the full disclosure can be so hurtful and even disruptive, and it can kind of relapse you in what you and your husband are going through. So that's why we want a high professional level of intervention here. And I would just have you think about something, Beverly. I believe you that this has taken place in this way. I think that your hurt is so raw, it spills out in a way that some people are really taken aback by, and it might be hard for them to receive it from you. So I want you to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt that some people just aren't trained in how to deal with that level of pain. But you can separate from people who aren't understanding and are mistreating you.
Okay, we've just about run out of time on today's episode of New Life Live. Beverly, thanks for calling in today. I think we'll send you a registration to our Choosing Wisdom Life Recovery Conference. I think it'll be very beneficial for you. We're going to do another hour, 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.